Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode in our customer confidence series, where we all will be exploring a simple but powerful idea. Customer trust hinges on how well you're meeting the customer's payment expectations. As we'll discuss, when trust increases, everything else improves. Self-service, adoption, operational efficiency, staff experience, customer satisfaction, and beyond. And when trust is lost, that's the kicker, organizations like yours tend to feel the backlash. So today we're going to explore some data that supports that idea from a holistic point of view. My name is Joe Sawyer. I'm a director of product management at InvoiceCloud. I've been in the payment space for about 15 years. At InvoiceCloud, I'm overseeing what we call the payments lane, where all the product work, all the development, and the delivery is related and orients around payment acceptance and processing on behalf of our customers. And I'm just looking forward to this conversation with you all today. Let's get to it. So InvoiceCloud is a company that started in 2009, been around for about 15, 16 years. What we do is we provide a fully cloud-based digital billing and payment platform, and we primarily serve utilities, insurance, local government, county tax companies. And when we look at our value proposition, we are built to drive digital adoption. That's our goal, to elevate the customer satisfaction and simplify transactions in a digital transaction lens or through that lens. So we use behavioral and operational insights to go beyond simply processing payments by intelligently engaging customers with personalized reminders and easy to use self-service options. And with that, like I said, our vision, our North Star has been and will always be making our customers' lives easier. And that entails reducing complexity to increasing on-time payments, lowering call volumes. And in order to do that, kind of our SOP, standard operating procedure, is continuously involving our underlying technology so it keeps pace with how consumers define trust today and tomorrow. And that way, no matter how expectations evolve, every payment experience feels intuitive, secure, and unobstructed. In today's session, we're going to look at insights from our latest State of Online Payments report, which is a national survey of 2,000 Americans who paid at least one bill digitally in the past year. We will review what's at stake if customers' trust is not fostered, what we've learned from the 2026 State of Online Payments report about how customers want to pay, what parts of the payment experience can build or break trust, and how trustworthy experiences can translate into real operational outcomes for billing organizations like yourselves. And remember, we have team members on the line today that can answer questions in the chat live along with this presentation. So pop any questions that come to mind right in the chat box. And with that, let's dive in. So let's talk about the price of mistrust, right? The stakes. InvoiceCloud recently worked with our partners at Pan Communications to run a survey all about what fosters and erodes trust. 80% of respondents said they do not trust payment workflows that appear outdated. They assume they're not secure and that the experience will be too difficult to warrant the time spent. So if your customers are consistently abandoning your online channels, opting to pay in person or by mail or some of those other mechanisms, this might be a reason why. So an outdated experience causes 55% of respondents to abandon payment altogether. So your billing experience and your payment flow need to immediately read as modern, easy to use. Otherwise, the credibility of your organization is at risk and the customer satisfaction rates could be impacted. With that, the digital adoption could stall overall, and your team would eventually see an increase in manual work. And modern isn't necessarily static. It's constantly being redefined by market leaders who deliver the best digital experiences to customers every day. So when I say with that statement, what I think about is the Amazons, Ubers, Venmos. These market leaders shift with customer expectations. Every time there's a new trend, they're right there either driving it or close followers to make sure that they're building the trust with their customers. Right? When you think about the digital wallets, when they were launched, not every payment UI used it, but now they're all across the market, being driven by those market leaders. So with that, we need to make sure that you have a billing and payment solution that's going to keep your operations in front of that adoption curve. Otherwise, it's going to feel like you're always playing catch up. And to avoid these challenges and offer that Amazon-like, that Uber-like experience where everyone uses it, trusts it, knows how it works, you must understand how and why customers pay bills. And in addition to that, how they prefer to pay their bills, right? So we know how they do it, why they do it, but what's their preference? What's their preferred method of paying those bills? And that's exactly why we conduct the annual survey, the state of online payments. Each year we survey the 2,000 Americans about their bill payment habits, preferences, challenges they face, with the hope that the insights might help the service providers align the offerings to what the average bill payer expects. Additionally, being on the product side, we use this data and feedback from customers to help shape our product roadmap with the goal of being ahead of that adoption curve to help provide the best experience for our customers. So I wanted to jump in at this point. I think this is a great slide, how Americans are paying bills. Okay. This slide depicts the whole idea of trust more than anything else in my mind. Trust in mobile is rising, right? 68%, up 16% year over year. And from that, 45% now say mobile is their preferred payment channel, which is a major increase year over year. Like I called out, it was 29% in the 25 report. So it's up 16% from last year. And then we move over to the next box. The online portal usage has taken a big drop over the past 5 or 6 years. 67% used in 2020, but yet it's dropped 22% in the last 6 years. That's a huge adjustment, and I think it's a noticeable trend in the market to understand that mobile is really the preferred method, and we're going away from the online portals over towards mobile. And then again, you talk about the traditional channels like the mail-in, in-person, those payments that also continue to decline to more friendly and now more trustworthy digital options, right? Paying by check, that usage is down 10% since last year. The usage and preference gap is broad. Only 4% actually want to use checks. Now, this could be because of the delays in the mail process or the increase in theft and mail and check fraud. But what I think it really paints the picture of is how it boils down to this habit formation on both sides of the spectrum, right? There are some folks that are so ingrained in paper-based habits, but yet the growing market, the trend is going towards this reliance on mobile phones as the new wallet. The goal is to make your digital payment offerings more trustworthy and able to adapt to quickly evolving expectations so that you can maintain trust and lower mailed-in checks even more. People expect the same simplicity and convenience as buying something on Amazon, even from their utility, municipality, or insurer. When that expectation is met, it creates confidence in your organization. So digital adoption motivation, why customers prefer digital payments. The movement towards trusted digital and away from the paper checks makes even more sense when we look at what motivates digital adoption. 28% say convenience and flexibility. 20% want to reduce paper usage. 19% want to avoid mailing checks. It's about convenience, and checks aren't convenient. Some banks even charge you extra fees just to cash them and to use them. And 46% didn't even write one. 40 didn't even write a check in 2024, which is a staggering number if you really think about it. So now let's talk about top digital pain points. Even among digital adopters, friction does remain. 22% say a lack of payment reminders is the biggest issue, and an additional 21% struggle with remembering login credentials. This is where many billing organizations unintentionally lose trust. Customers don't evaluate payment flows in isolation. They compare these flows to the best digital experiences they use every day today in the market. If the payment experience is harder than ordering food, booking travel, or paying for a ride, it feels outdated and it reduces the trust in the platform. So now I'm going to touch on some features and capabilities that we offer to address these points. So for payment reminders, we have fully customizable payment reminders. We have follow-ups. We can set up 2 to 3 reminders, which is beneficial because our data shows that the second and third payment reminder have the best success rates. And then each of those payment reminders has an embedded payment link that routes directly to the payment flow, making it super simple, super streamlined for the end user to get to the page they need to make their payment. Now I'd like to discuss our guest checkout flow. This is how we address end users forgetting their login credentials. Guest checkout flows offer frictionless one-time payments where customers do not have to use login credentials to access their digital bill and make an online payment. 83% of Americans say it's important that there's a guest checkout option when paying bills digitally. 41% of InvoiceCloud's end users, customers like yours, use our guest checkout option. It's important to use this as a foot in the door. If the experience is easy to find and easy to use, that instantly bolsters trust. This is a great opportunity to encourage people to sign up for other self-service options like paperless billing, automatic payments, right on the guest checkout page. This is how the InvoiceCloud guest checkout experience is designed, and we find capitalizing on that moment of trust really drives self-service enrollment. And before we move on to discussing operational benefits, let's touch on the momentum we're seeing with self-service options like paperless billing and automatic payment, or AutoPay as we call it. When customers trust the payment experience, we see measurable shifts in behavior. Another indicator in enrollment is self-service options like paperless billing and AutoPay. 65% of customers now receive at least half of their bills electronically, and 64% use AutoPay for at least half of their bills. That AutoPay enrollment is up 10% from last year, demonstrating growing trust in this option. And as paper bills become increasingly disposable, paperless billing is increasingly embraced. Last year's State of Online Payments report found that half of people would choose to enroll in paperless billing if asked, and another 25% don't even need to be asked. They want to be automatically enrolled. And this tells us something important. When customers trust digital payments, they move from transactional behavior to automated behavior. They stop asking, how do I pay this bill? And start thinking, I can trust that this will get taken care of automatically. And that shift is where digital confidence begins to create operational value. And now I want to cover some of the benefits of delivering on those customer preferences, the efficiency benefits. When your digital payment experience is easy to use, it naturally becomes adopted by more people. When more people can use your online system, you see meaningful impact. Let's break down a few of the key benefits. Fewer support calls, self-service and automated payment flows. When users can easily navigate your site, complete a payment, or enroll in AutoPay without hitting a wall, they don't need to call. That means less volume for your call center, shorter queues, and fewer staff hours spent helping people troubleshoot their issues and their concerns. Fewer late and missed payments. If someone struggles to pay online because the experience is difficult to navigate or seems untrustworthy, they're more likely to abandon that process altogether. This adds manual follow-up, potential disconnections, policy cancellations, and frustrated end users. And better digital adoption equals more cost savings. When more customers pay online, fewer rely on mailed checks or in-person service. That translates directly into savings on postage, paper, printing, labor. And all of these benefits are really the result of giving customers an experience that feels current, intuitive, and trustworthy. And maintaining that over time requires technology that doesn't just meet today's expectations, but is designed to evolve with them. And there's another layer here that's just as important, your brand. When your organization builds a digital experience that aligns with your preferences, it sends a powerful signal. We care, we think about everyone, and we build for everyone. And that message has real benefits. Stronger brand reputation, whether you're a public entity or a private sector provider, being known as an organization that's easy to work with builds public trust. In a time when trust is fragile, that matters. Higher customer satisfaction and loyalty. When someone completes a payment successfully, especially if they've struggled elsewhere, that's a meaningful interaction. They're more likely to come back, more likely to recommend you, and more likely to adopt other digital services you offer. That's how loyalty is built. Better staff experience. We just ran through the operational benefits, all of which make for an easier, more positive experience for your billing and payment staff. Now I wanted to cover the results of a case study that we did for the city of Escondido, California. I want to read a quote that they provided, Christina Holmes, Director of Finance from the city of Escondido. Giving our customers the choice, convenience, and simplicity that comes with making payments online has really helped us to improve the overall relationship we have with our customers. The InvoiceCloud payment portal has also saved the team a lot of manual labor and time, which makes it a win-win for everybody. And if you look at some of these stats, 242% increase, 52% of total electronic payment adoption, 69% decrease in payment calls. Those are meaningful numbers, meaningful results, and I think this is a great case study to show what InvoiceCloud can offer. We did a second case study with American Farmers and Ranchers Insurance, and a quote from their CFO: InvoiceCloud gave us the modern digital payment experience our policyholders wanted and provided dedicated support to ease any concerns we had. The best part is the rise in self-service payments has kept costs down as we've grown our base. And both of these case studies show how that trustworthy experience has meaningful impact. Through InvoiceCloud, these service providers have given their customers an easy payment experience that they can rely on, and that is reflected in these significant results. And I'd like to kind of point out just a few key takeaways that I think I want to hit on from this session. Trustworthy experiences drive payment adoption. Customers are making split-second decisions about whether to complete a payment based on how modern and intuitive the experience feels. Outdated experiences don't just frustrate users, they erode trust and lead to abandonment. And with trust, everything else gets easier and more efficient. The data shows that when customers trust the experience, they adopt digital channels, enroll in AutoPay, and shift to paperless, reducing the manual work, lowering costs, and improving satisfaction across the board. Trust isn't just a customer experience metric, it's an operational lever that drives adoption, efficiency, and long-term value. And lastly, modern experiences aren't achieved with a one-time upgrade. They're really compounding improvements. The definition of a trustworthy payment experience is continuously being redefined, which means staying competitive requires more than keeping up. It requires being built to evolve. And that kind of experience doesn't happen by accident. It requires a payment platform that's continuously modernized behind the scenes to support new payment methods, security expectations, and user behaviors as they evolve. And if you want to do a deeper dive into the data from our annual State of Online Payments report, you're in luck. We'll be sending along an instant access copy of the report following today's session. So be on the lookout. And finally, thank you all for joining us today. Again, we'll be sending out a recording of this session and instant access to the State of Online Payments report for you. If we missed any of your questions, I'm sure the folks on the line have been collecting emails to reach out after the fact, but don't hesitate to also send questions or thoughts to the email on the screen. Thank you all for your time and hope you have a great day.